Welcome back to the deep dive. This time, we're all about goals, actually achieving those things we dream about. We've got some excerpts from Brian Tracy's book, Goals, How to Get Everything You Want Faster Than You Ever Thought Possible. I have to admit, just skimming these pages already has me thinking bigger.
It's a classic for a reason. Tracy doesn't just tell you to have goals, he lays out a whole system. We're going to break that down, see what really makes it tick, and by the end of this, you'll have some serious mental tools to level up your own goal game.
Okay, so this book is packed. What struck you as the most important starting point?
It's almost deceptively simple. But Tracy argues that clear goals are more important than raw talent. He says, an average person with clear goals will outperform a genius who doesn't know what they want. I mean, that's a bold statement.
It is. And, it makes me think about all those times I've spun my wheels, full of energy but not getting anywhere specific. What's the point of a powerful engine if you don't know where you're driving?
Exactly. And Tracy backs this up with some compelling evidence. He talks about a Harvard study that tracked MBA grads for 10 years. Only 3% had written goals. But get this, they ended up earning 10 times more than the other 97% combined.
10 times. Okay, now I'm really paying attention. But why written goals specifically? Is it some magical contract with the universe? Or is there something more to it?
I think it's more about psychology than magic.
Yeah.
When you write something down, it's not just a thought anymore. It's a commitment. It forces you to clarify what you want and creates a sort of roadmap for your brain to follow. Plus, you can always refer back to it, keeping yourself accountable.
It's like having that mission statement taped to your bathroom mirror, a constant reminder of what you're working towards. I'm starting to see why this is step one, so assuming we've got our goals written down, what's next?
Tracy is big on personal responsibility. He says to ditch the blame game and embrace the idea that you're in control. He even has this affirmation, I am responsible, which sounds kind of cheesy, but I tried it. And it actually shifts your mindset.
Okay. I can see how that would be helpful when you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed. It's easy to fall into the trap of blaming external circumstances, but ultimately, we have more power than we realize.
Right. It's like Tracy says, you need to see yourself as the president of your own personal services corporation. You're in charge of your life and career decisions, and you have the power to shape your own destiny. No board of directors to answer to except yourself.
Now, that's an analogy I can get behind. It makes the whole idea of responsibility less daunting and more empowering. But being the president also means making tough choices, right?
Absolutely. And Tracy challenges us to confront those pesky, self-limiting beliefs. Those voices in our heads that whisper, you're not good enough, or you'll never be able to do that.
Oh, believe me, I know those voices all too well. They can be incredibly persistent. So how do we silence those inner critics and start believing in ourselves?
Tracy advocates for what he calls blue sky thinking. Imagine a perfect future. No limitations, no doubts. It's about unleashing your imagination and exploring the realm of pure possibility.
So, it's like a brainstorming session with your own brain, where anything goes. I like it. But how do you bridge the gap between those wild dreams and actual achievable goals?
That's where the how comes in. Once you've painted that ideal picture, start asking yourself, how can I make this happen? That simple question sparks creativity and helps you reverse engineer your path to success.
It's like setting the destination in your GPS and then figuring out the route. But wouldn't it be easy to get lost in those big, ambitious goals and lose sight of what truly matters?
That's why Tracy emphasizes the importance of aligning your goals with your values. He cautions against climbing the wrong ladder of success. It's not just about reaching the top. It's about reaching the top of the right ladder.
Otherwise, you might get to the top and realize you hate the view. It's about finding that sweet spot where your ambitions and your values intersect, right?
Exactly. He encourages reflecting on experiences that have given you a sense of genuine pride and satisfaction. Those are clues to your core values, the things that truly matter to you.
That's a great point. I'm starting to see how all of this ties together. Clear goals give you direction. Responsibility gives you ownership. And aligning those goals with your values ensures you're heading in a direction that feels truly meaningful.
You're getting it. Now, Tracy takes us a step further and introduces the concept of a major definite purpose.
Intriguing. So what exactly is a major definite purpose, and how does it fit into this whole goal-setting framework?
Think of it as your North Star, the guiding principle that gives meaning to all your other goals. It's the overarching purpose that drives your actions and decisions.
Okay. I'm starting to see the bigger picture here, but how do you define this major definite purpose? It sounds pretty abstract.
Tracy actually lays out specific criteria for a powerful major definite purpose. It should be specific, measurable, written down, time-bounded, believable, and achievable.
It's not just a vague aspiration, but a concrete, actionable target. It reminds me of that SMART goals framework I've heard about.
Exactly. And Tracy stresses the importance of setting realistic goals, even when it comes to your major definite purpose. He tells this story about a woman who wanted to be a millionaire in a year, but she was starting from scratch. Her purpose needed a dose of reality.
That makes sense. It's about being ambitious, but also grounded in what's actually achievable. Okay, so we've got our major definite purpose defined. We're feeling motivated and responsible, but there's always that nagging feeling that something might hold us back. What are some of the potential roadblocks we might encounter on our path to success?
Well, Tracy argues that one of the biggest obstacles is often our own mindset. We get caught up in those limiting beliefs, those fears that whisper, what if I fail, or what if I'm not good enough?
Those fears can be paralyzing. They keep us stuck in our comfort zones, even when we know we're capable of more. So how do we push past those fears and embrace the challenges that come with pursuing our goals?
Tracy is all about action. He believes that consistent action, even small steps taken daily, is the key to overcoming those mental hurdles and building momentum.
It's about proving those fears wrong, one small victory at a time. But what about those times when we feel like we're hitting a wall, like we're just not making progress?
Tracy has a fascinating concept for that, the persistence test. He suggests that breakthroughs often come right when we're about to give up, as if the universe is testing our resolve, making sure we really want it.
Oh, I can relate to that. I've had those moments where I was ready to throw in the towel, and then suddenly something shifted. It's like pushing through that final layer of resistance leads to a whole new level of possibility.
Exactly. And Tracy shares a story about Orison Swett Martin, a writer who lost his entire manuscript in a fire. Despite this devastating setback, he persevered, rewrote the book, and ultimately achieved great success with it.
That's an incredible testament to the power of persistence. It reminds me of Churchill's famous words, never give in, never give in, never, 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 nothing great or small, large or petty, never give in, except to convictions of honor and good sense.
It's a powerful message, isn't it? Giving up is often the only true failure. As long as we keep going, we have the potential to overcome any obstacle.
That's such an inspiring thought. It gives me a newfound sense of hope and determination. Now, Tracy also delves into the fascinating world of the subconscious and superconscious minds, right? It's a topic that's always intrigued me.
Absolutely. And he believes that we can tap into these incredible mental faculties to enhance our success. He highlights visualization as a key technique for activating the law of attraction and the law of correspondence.
Okay, I'm hooked. Tell me more about this visualization thing. How does it work? And how can we use it to achieve our goals?
It's about creating vivid mental pictures of yourself already having achieved your goals. By repeatedly visualizing these images, you impress them upon your subconscious mind, which then starts working behind the scenes to align your actions and attract opportunities that support those goals.
It's like planting seeds in your subconscious garden and watching them grow. But does that mean we can just sit back, daydream, and our goals will magically manifest?
Not quite. While visualization is a powerful tool, it's not about passive wishing. It's about creating a clear vision and then taking consistent action to move towards it.
It's like setting the GPS coordinates and then actually getting in the car and driving. Visualization helps you chart the course, but you still have to put in the effort to get there.
Precisely. And Tracy shares several examples of how visualization has been used effectively. For instance, Benjamin Franklin used it to develop positive character traits, and a couple used it to manifest their dream home.
Those are inspiring examples. They make visualizations seem more tangible and achievable. Now, you mentioned the superconscious mind as well. What is that, and how can we access its power?
The superconscious mind is often described as a higher level of consciousness, a source of intuition, inspiration, and creative breakthroughs. Tracy suggests we can access this realm through practices like relaxation, meditation, and creative visualization.
It sounds like tapping into a wellspring of wisdom and creative potential that exists beyond our everyday awareness. Are there any specific examples of people harnessing the power of their superconscious mind?
Thomas Edison is a great example. He was famous for using regular naps to access his superconscious mind, leading to many of his groundbreaking inventions.
That's fascinating. It makes you realize that those moments of quiet contemplation can be incredibly productive. It's like giving our minds the space to make connections and generate those aha moments.
Exactly. And Tracy emphasizes that the superconscious mind works best when we approach it with calm, confident expectation. It's about trusting that the answers we need will emerge when we create the right conditions.
It sounds like surrendering to a higher intelligence,
Yeah,
letting go of control, and allowing the solutions to flow through us. That takes a lot of trust, doesn't it?
it does, but the rewards can be extraordinary. Now, while having a clear vision and a strong sense of purpose are essential, Tracy also highlights the importance of flexibility.
That makes sense. Life is unpredictable. We can't always anticipate every twist and turn, so being adaptable is crucial, right?
Absolutely. Tracy emphasizes that in a world of constant change, flexibility is no longer optional. It's essential.
As they say, the only constant is change. So how do we cultivate this flexibility in our approach to life and goal setting?
Tracy suggests using zero-based thinking to stay flexible. This means regularly revisiting your plans and commitments and asking yourself if they're still serving you, given the current circumstances.
It's about being willing to course correct, to adjust our sails as the wind changes direction. Rigidity won't get us very far, especially in today's dynamic world.
Precisely. And he also stresses the importance of being open to new information, ideas, and perspectives. Continuous learning is crucial for staying ahead of the curve.
The more we learn, the more adaptable we become, and the better equipped we are to handle whatever challenges come our way.
Now, we've covered a lot of ground in terms of mindset and planning, but Tracy's ultimate message is this. It all comes down to action.
Okay, let's talk about action. That's where so many people stumble. They have great ideas, but they struggle to translate them into concrete steps. What's Tracy's advice for bridging that gap between intention and action?
He's a big believer in consistent action, even if it's just small steps taken daily. It's not about grand gestures. It's about making steady progress. Like they say, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
I love that. It's about building momentum through those small, consistent efforts.
Exactly. And Tracy tells this story about the retiring president of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. This guy attributed his success to always doing more than expected. It's about going above and beyond, showing initiative, and exceeding expectations.
What a fantastic example. It's not about doing the bare minimum. It's about demonstrating your commitment and going the extra mile.
You got it. And Tracy also highlights the importance of working quickly and decisively. He argues that the faster you move, the more energy and momentum you generate.
I like that idea. It's like pushing a heavy object. It takes a lot of effort to get it moving initially, but once it's rolling, it becomes easier to maintain that momentum.
Exactly. He calls this the momentum principle. The more action you take, the more energized and motivated you become.
Yeah.
And that creates a positive feedback loop that propels you towards your goals.
It's about overcoming that initial inertia, taking that first step, and then letting that momentum carry you forward. It makes sense. But in a world full of distractions, staying focused can be tough. What are some of Tracy's tips for managing time effectively and maximizing productivity?
He's a big advocate for the 80-20 rule, which states that 20% of our efforts typically produce 80% of our results. He encourages identifying those high-impact activities and focusing on them.
It's about being strategic with our time, recognizing that not all tasks are created equal. We need to learn to delegate or eliminate those low-value activities that drain our energy and focus.
Exactly. And to help with that, Tracy introduces the ABCDE method for prioritizing tasks. You assign a letter to each task based on its importance and urgency.
Okay. Break down this ABCDE method for me. How does it work in practice?
A tasks are your top priority, those with significant consequences. B tasks should be done but are less urgent. C's tasks would be nice to do but have minimal impact. D tasks should be delegated, and E tasks can be eliminated entirely.
That's a great system for sorting through that never-ending to-do list. It forces you to be ruthless with your time and energy.
It does. And Tracy also highlights the importance of single-handling tasks, meaning you focus on one task at a time until it's complete. No more multitasking, which can actually decrease productivity.
Like the saying goes, if you chase two rabbits, you'll catch neither. Focus is key.
Precisely. Once you've got your priorities straight and minimized distractions, Tracy recommends creating blocks of uninterrupted time to work on your most important projects.
Those focused work sessions can be pure gold. But how do you create those blocks of time when you're constantly bombarded with demands and interruptions?
Tracy suggests scheduling those blocks in your calendar, treating them as non-negotiable appointments. And don't be afraid to communicate your unavailability to others during these times to minimize distractions.
It's like creating a sacred space for your work, a time when you can fully immerse yourself without distractions.
Exactly. And Tracy emphasizes working quickly and decisively during these focused sessions. Maintaining momentum is key to productivity.
It's about overcoming that initial resistance, getting into a flow state, and powering through the work. Now, I'm curious about Tracy's perspective on delegation. It's something I personally struggle with. I often feel like it's just easier to do things myself.
I hear you. But delegation can be a powerful tool for freeing up your time and energy, so you can focus on your highest value activities. Tracy suggests starting by identifying tasks that someone else can do at 80% of the quality you would achieve.
Okay, that's a helpful guideline. So it's
Well,
not about perfection, but about recognizing that certain tasks can be effectively handled by others, even if they might not do them exactly the way you would.
you got it. And Tracy emphasizes providing clear instructions, setting deadlines, and offering support to the people you delegate to. It's about setting them up for success.
It's about empowering others to contribute while ensuring the work gets done effectively. This is all great stuff. But we've talked a lot about external strategies. What about nurturing our inner world? Does Tracy touch on that at all?
He does. He highlights the importance of positive self-talk, replacing those negative self-defeating thoughts with affirmations that support our goals and beliefs.
It's like rewiring our inner dialogue to be more encouraging and empowering. Our thoughts have a powerful influence on our actions and results, don't they?
Absolutely. And Tracy is also a big proponent of practicing gratitude. It's about focusing on what we appreciate in our lives rather than dwelling on what we lack.
Gratitude is such a powerful practice. It shifts our perspective and helps us recognize the abundance that already exists in our lives.
Right. And another key aspect of inner growth that Tracy emphasizes is continuous learning. He suggests aiming to learn something new every day, constantly expanding our knowledge and skills.
It's like keeping our minds sharp and engaged, and it keeps us adaptable and open to new possibilities.
Precisely. And he also recommends reading biographies of successful people. It's a great way to learn from their experiences and insights.
It's like having a mentor from afar. We can glean so much wisdom from those who have already walked the path we're on.
Now, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive into Brian Tracy's principles, it's important to remember that achieving our goals is a journey, not a destination.
That's a great reminder. It's about enjoying the process, celebrating the small wins, and embracing the challenges as opportunities for growth.
Exactly. And Tracy emphasizes that the pursuit of our goals is ultimately about creating a life that is meaningful, fulfilling, and aligned with our values.
It's about living a life of purpose, a life that reflects our unique talents and passions.
Precisely. And Tracy reminds us that we are all capable of achieving far more than we think we are. It all starts with clarity of goals, a commitment to action, and an unwavering belief in ourselves.
This has been such an inspiring and thought-provoking conversation so far, expert speaker. Brian Tracy's insights are so practical and empowering. But we've covered a lot of ground already, and I'm sure our listener is eager to hear more.
There's plenty more to explore. Tracy has so much wisdom to share about tapping into the power of our minds, overcoming obstacles, and achieving breakthrough results.
So, we'll continue our deep dive into the world of goal setting and achieving in the next part of this episode. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the deep dive. When we left off, we were talking about the power of action and how even small steps can lead to big results.
It's so easy to get bogged down in the planning phase and never actually get started. But Tracy argues that consistent action is the key to overcoming inertia and building momentum.
Absolutely. And he highlights another important concept, the idea of key result areas. These are the essential areas you need to master to achieve your goals. Your weakest skill in these areas can hold you back from reaching your full potential.
It's like having a chain where the weakest link determines the overall strength. So, the key is to identify your weakest key skill and focus on strengthening it.
Exactly. Tracy uses the analogy of a leaky bucket. If you have a bucket with several holes, you'll lose water no matter how much you pour in. You need to find and fix those leaks, or your efforts will be wasted.
Oh, okay. That's a helpful visual. But how do we identify those leaky buckets in our own lives? How do we pinpoint those areas where we're holding ourselves back?
Tracy suggests something called zero-based thinking. It's about stepping back and asking yourself, if I were starting from scratch today, knowing what I now know, would I still be doing this?
That's a powerful question. It forces you to challenge your assumptions and identify areas where you might be clinging to outdated habits or commitments. I can see how that would be helpful for both personal and professional goals.
Right. It's about being honest with yourself and making sure your actions are aligned with your goals and values. Now, speaking of challenges, Tracy also talks about the importance of dealing with setbacks and obstacles. He believes that successful people actually fail more often than unsuccessful people, because they're willing to take more risks.
That makes sense. You can't hit a home run if you're afraid to swing the bat. But knowing that doesn't make failure any less scary, does it?
Of course not. It's natural to fear failure. But Tracy emphasizes that successful people have developed a solution-oriented mindset. They focus on finding ways to overcome obstacles, rather than dwelling on the problem itself.
It's the difference between staring at a locked door and looking for the key. So, how can we shift from problem-oriented thinking to solution-oriented thinking? Any practical tips?
Tracy recommends breaking down your fears into smaller, manageable chunks. Write down what you're afraid of. Then ask yourself two key questions. How does this fear help me? And what will be the payoff for overcoming it?
That's a great exercise. By analyzing our feels, we can often reframe them and see them from a different perspective sometimes. Those fears can even motivate us to work harder or be more cautious.
Exactly. It's about finding the balance between healthy caution and debilitating fear.
Yeah.
And sometimes, the best way to overcome fear is simply to take action, even if it's a small step.
It's like jumping into a cold pool. The anticipation is often worse than the actual experience. Once you take that first plunge, the fear starts to dissipate.
Right. And speaking of taking action, Tracy also emphasizes the importance of working quickly and decisively. He argues that the faster you move, the more energy and momentum you generate.
I've definitely experienced that. When I procrastinate or drag my feet on a project, it feels like I'm wading through mud. But when I work quickly and decisively, it's like I'm gliding on ice.
Exactly. Tracy calls this the momentum principle. The more action you take, the more energized and motivated you become, creating a positive feedback loop that propels you towards your goals.
So, it's about overcoming that initial resistance, taking that first step, and then letting that momentum carry you forward. That makes a lot of sense. Now, we've talked about the importance of identifying our key result areas and strengthening our weakest skills. But what about those times when we're feeling stuck or uninspired? How do we rekindle that fire, that passion for pursuing our goals?
Tracy talks about the importance of tapping into what he calls the superconscious mind. This is a realm of intuition, inspiration, and creative breakthroughs. He suggests accessing this state through practices like relaxation, meditation, and creative visualization.
Okay, now we're getting into some really interesting territory. It sounds like accessing a wellspring of wisdom and creativity that exists beyond our everyday awareness. How can we tap into this superconscious power?
Tracy suggests several techniques. One is simply to take time for quiet reflection. Go for a walk in nature, meditate, or engage in any activity that helps you relax and clear your mind.
I can definitely see the value in that. When I'm feeling overwhelmed or stressed, taking a break and disconnecting from all the noise often helps me see things more clearly.
Right. It's about giving your mind a chance to rest and recharge so that you can access those deeper levels of awareness.
But sometimes, even when we're feeling rested and inspired, self-doubt can creep in and sabotage our efforts. How do we deal with those pesky inner critics?
Tracy emphasizes the importance of positive self-talk. He encourages replacing those negative, self-defeating thoughts with affirmations that support our goals and beliefs.
It's like rewiring our inner dialogue to be more encouraging and empowering. What we tell ourselves has a huge impact on our actions and results.
Absolutely. And Tracy is also a big believer in practicing gratitude. It's about shifting our focus from what we lack to what we appreciate in our lives.
Gratitude is such a powerful practice. It helps us reframe our perspective and recognize the abundance that already exists in our lives.
Exactly. And another key to overcoming self-doubt is simply to take action. The more we do, the more confident we become.
Action is the antidote to fear and doubt. It's about proving those negative voices wrong, one step at a time.
Now, we've talked a lot about the internal aspects of achieving goals, but Tracy also emphasizes the importance of the external environment.
That makes sense. Our surroundings can have a huge impact on our mood, our motivation, and our overall well-being.
Our surroundings can have a huge impact on our mood, our motivation, and our overall well-being.
Right. Tracy encourages creating a workspace that is clean, organized, and conducive to productivity. I know I work so much better when my desk is clear and my surroundings are calm and inviting. Clutter just creates mental chaos.
Exactly. And Tracy also emphasizes the importance of surrounding yourself with positive, supportive people.
Our relationships have a huge impact on our success, don't they? It's so much easier to pursue your goals when you have a tribe of cheerleaders in your corner.
Absolutely. And Tracy reminds us that success is not a solo sport. We all need support, encouragement, and guidance along the way.
So, we've talked about the importance of having clear goals, taking action, overcoming obstacles, and cultivating a positive mindset. But what about those times when we just feel overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of our goals? How do we break down those big, audacious dreams into smaller, more manageable steps?
That's where planning and organization come in. Tracy is a big advocate for breaking down large goals into smaller, more achievable milestones.
It's like eating an elephant one bite at a time. Those smaller steps make the journey feel less daunting and more attainable.
Exactly. And Tracy suggests creating a detailed plan for each milestone, outlining the specific actions you need to take.
Having that roadmap in place helps us stay focused and on track, especially when we're feeling overwhelmed or lost in the weeds.
Right. And Tracy also emphasizes the importance of setting deadlines for each milestone.
Deadlines create a sense of urgency and accountability, don't they? They help us stay motivated and avoid procrastination.
They do. And Tracy recommends rewarding yourself for achieving each milestone.
Now, that's something I can get behind. Celebrating those small victories along the way helps us stay motivated and reinforces our belief in our ability to achieve our goals.
Absolutely. It's about acknowledging our progress and giving ourselves credit for the hard work we're putting in.
So, we've got our goals broken down, we've created a plan, we've set deadlines, and we're ready to take action. But what about those inevitable distractions and interruptions that threaten to derail our efforts? How do we stay focused and on track when the world is constantly vying for our attention?
That's where discipline and focus come in. Tracy emphasizes the importance of minimizing distractions and creating an environment that is conducive to concentration.
I know for me, that means putting my phone on silent, closing unnecessary tabs on my computer, and letting those around me know that I need some uninterrupted work time.
Those are all great strategies. And Tracy also recommends using tools like to-do lists, calendars, and time tracking apps to help you stay organized and on top of your tasks.
Technology can be a lifesaver when it comes to managing our time and staying focused, but it can also be a major distraction. It's all about finding the balance and using those tools intentionally to support our goals.
Exactly. And Tracy emphasizes the importance of scheduling time for your most important tasks and treating those blocks of time as non-negotiable appointments.
It's like creating a sacred space in your calendar for the work that truly matters. No meetings, no emails, no distractions. Just pure, focused effort.
Right. And Tracy also suggests batching similar tasks together to increase efficiency. For example, instead of checking email throughout the day, designate specific times to process your inbox.
That's a great tip. Batching similar tasks helps you get into a flow state and avoid constantly switching gears.
So, we've talked a lot about the importance of action, discipline, and focus, but Tracy also emphasizes the importance of continuous learning.
I love that. It's not enough to just set goals and take action. We also need to constantly be expanding our knowledge and skills.
Exactly. Tracy encourages reading books, listening to podcasts, attending seminars, and seeking out mentors to learn from the best in your field.
It's about staying curious, challenging ourselves, and never stopping the pursuit of knowledge and growth. But learning takes time and effort. How do we fit it into our already busy schedules?
Tracy suggests making learning a non-negotiable part of your routine. Schedule time for reading, listening, or attending events, just like you would schedule any other important appointment.
It's about prioritizing our personal and professional growth, recognizing that investing in our knowledge and skills is an investment in our future success.
Now, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive into Brian Tracy's principles, I want to leave you with one of his most powerful messages. Success is not an accident.
I love that. It's about taking ownership of our journey and recognizing that we have the power to create the future we desire.
Exactly. Success is the result of conscious choices, deliberate actions, and unwavering persistence. It's about believing in ourselves, overcoming our fears, and never giving up on our dreams.
This has been an incredibly insightful and inspiring conversation expert speaker. Brian Tracy's principles are so practical and empowering. I'm feeling energized and ready to tackle my goals with renewed focus and determination.
That's great to hear. And listener, we challenge you to take just one action, no matter how small, towards one of your goals today. You might be surprised by the results. Until next time, keep diving deep